Hello everyone, welcome again to Mike's SAS Tutorials. This is a special topic lesson on dealing with SAS datetime and datetime values. If you use your SAS help manual and type into your search SAS date, I will be using this article, Dates, Times, and Intervals about SAS datetime and datetime values to give you a brief description of how SAS stores date data. One of the things you have to understand is that when you're looking at dates is that there's really three parts to it: the month, day, and year. Well, SAS did away with that system by simply using the number of days from a point in time, in this case January 1st, 1960, to represent the actual day of the year, or the day of the point in time. So they set January 1st, 1960 as a zero value, and any time in the future after that point gets the number of days since that day as its value, whereas any time before that point gets negative number of days. So the thing is, when you're dealing with inputting or printing out data in SAS, you won't understand exactly what it's looking at. So for example, if I just go ahead and copy in this data set here and give you a proc print without any formats, I'll show you that the way SAS stores its date is just the number of days. Here you can see 20,850 for whatever this January 1st, or sorry, January 31st, 2017 got stored as 20,850 days since January 1st, 1960. So that's not really intuitive, and so sometimes when you're dealing with dates, they can be really confusing and really difficult. So SAS has this format that it uses, this MMDDYY10, and there are several variations of this format, but this is the one I like to use because it's the one that's most legible and meaningful for me. But you might have, you might refer to dates in a different way, and so there are different formats, and you can look those up in the help manual. I want to show that when you're reading in data into SAS using your data step, in the input and card system, whenever you have the date stored as the formatted version, you have to apply the format on the input line. So here on the input statement, you can see that we're reading in this variable date, and we have the format specified here. So when the card statement reads the data, it knows that this refers to the month, day, and year of the date. Now the thing you might be wondering is, if we have a two-digit year, how does SAS know that it's not really 1917 but 2017? Well, there's this option on the option statement called yearcutoff equals and some year, a four-digit year. This yearcutoff equals 1925 tells SAS that if the two-digit year is between 00 and 25 in this case, then it's going to be sent to the 20th century. So it would be 2017 or 2000 in this example. Any value with a two-digit year above 25, in this case 26, 27, actually sorry, any value above or equal to 25 would be sent to the 1900s. So here we have, this is going to be a 25, this would be 1925, this 95 would be 1995, this 84 would be 1984, and so forth. And so if we read this in, we run all of that code, and apply the format on a proc print or any procedure where we're going to be outputting the date, then we will have a meaningful way of looking at that data. So here, if I zoom in for you, you can see that that January 31st, because the 17 was below 1925, got pushed to 2017. And then any value above 25 or equal to 25 got sent to the 1900s. So that's actually just the simplest way of looking at date data, but you want to sometimes manipulate that data and you want to actually do stuff to it. So for example, what if you want to take in the year? So here we have dates2. I'm creating a separate data set based on the old data set, and I'm going to use this year function on our date variable to say if the year is less than 2000, then let's set it to the 20th century. However, if the year is greater than 2000 or equal to 2000, then it's going to go to the 21st century. So this year function, all it's really doing is taking out the four-digit year from the date and allowing you to compare things to it. When I run this data set, now we see that everything that was in the 2000s has been given this 21st century value. Actually, let me zoom in for you here. Here you can see 2000 is in the 21st century, 2000 is in the 21st century. All of the 1900 values are in the 20th century. So the year function is really useful to extract the year. Now you might be asking yourself, well, what if I want to take out the month or the day? Well, the truth is you can do that as well, and they're very intuitive. Just use the month, the parentheses, and operate on a date time value, in this case our date variable. When I run this, now I'm going to make a new if-then system, creating a new variable called half year, whether or not it falls into the first half of the year or the second half of the year. So if the month is less than 6, which would be January, February, March, April, May, June, then it's going to be in the first half of the year. But if it's equal to or greater than or equal to June, then it's going to be in the second half of the year. And when we run this, we can see now that January 31st, 2017 was in the first half of the year, November 20th, 1984 was in the second half of the year, and so forth. So you can also do a day function which would do the same thing. But let's say you want to compare a date value to a very specific date. In this case, I'm taking September 11th, 2001 to specify as something being pre-9/11 or not. So in this case, I'm comparing our date variable to a very specific date, to an exact date. Well, there's this really nice feature that SAS uses where you can use a single quotation, the day of a month, and then the three first characters of the month name, and a 4-digit year with a closing quotation and then this D. Now you can see here it turned this dark green color, and the thing that's really nice about that is as soon as you specify that D, it goes from this purple quoted format to this date format, and you know right away now you're dealing with date date values. So if I do this, I now have in my dates2 data set a pre-9/11 yes or no variable, and you can see here this is the case. So November 20th, 1984 was of course before 9/11, March 15th, 1925, and all of the other values were before September 11th, 2001. But this January 31st, 2017 was not. It was after, so it got a no value. So that's pretty much it. Really simple stuff, just sometimes very confusing. And remember, every time you want to see a date, you should apply this format on the date. There are other variations of this, and they're all in the SAS Help Manual or online. I think I have these. So if you guys have any questions, please just feel free to leave it in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, or tell your friends. Thank you, and have a good day.